Hello.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time you tune in.
Ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlethems.
Boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome back to another episode of
Shooting the shit with Beefy
and Bobbie.
Bobbie.
Beefy.
How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing super good, ladies and gentlemen. I am just so excited.
Why are you so excited?
Ethan? Because one, at the time of recording this episode, we, again, have gone mobile. And tell them where we are.
We have gone quite mobile, folks. We have gone 3 states down from Massachusetts, and we are here in the heart of New Jersey, baby.
Yeah, we are. We came down with our super sweetheart social media manager, the one, the only Haley Lynn Sullivan.
Glad to be here, thank you.
Not only is she here, but she's hosting us. God bless her.
But wait, Bobbie, does that mean...
I think that means...
I think we have the Sullivans.
We are so lucky and grateful and honored to be hosted here in New Jersey at the Sullivan household, lovingly referred to as...
Arcadia.
Yeah. And Bobbie, today we have Haley's sibling, Max Sullivan.
What's up?
Hello.
Hell yeah.
And last but certainly not least,
Respectfully, the star of today's show.
we have somebody we've been trying to get on the podcast since we started, buddy.
The one, and certainly the only...
Sully!
Good evening, folks. Good morning, folks. They, them, everybody that's listening.
Yes.
Sully, first I just want to thank you so much for having us here. We truly appreciate it. This is Bobbie's first time here in Arcadia, and we've had such a blast. This is our third and final day here, and so we've just been super grateful for you hosting us, and we're definitely looking forward to some more trips in the future for sure.
Not a problem. Mi casa su casa.
Oh, thank you so much. But yeah, so we came down for a holiday weekend, and we've been
busy. We've been real busy.
keeping on the run. Spent multiple days in the city, and it has just been such a blast to have been, properly shown the city through the eyes of someone who...
Because if you remember from our past couple of seasons, Bobbie had his first time in New York City last year. But now that we are off the chain of school, it was time to get even more off the chain in New York City.
Quite unhinged, I would say. But yes, so it's been so much fun to walk around with Sully and Haley and Max through the city, because that's their childhood.
Exactly.
And Sully's
their
life.
stomping ground. It's where they roam.
And so yeah, I just wanted to talk about some of the places and some good jokes that Sully has told us, and pretty much anything else Sully wants to talk about. So Sully, what was your favorite place that you showed us this weekend?
I don't know. I guess I always like Washington Square Park. For me, that holds a shit ton of memories. So.
Oh yeah. As opposed to the arguably more famous Central Park, which is massive, but Washington Square kind of has its own little characteristics to it.
Yeah, but Haley's mom and my ex used to go there for picnics, so
yeah,
it's double-edged.
Saw a couple of
Park's
picnics
really
there
nice,
this
but,
weekend.
But yeah, the memories of those photographs that we took, and I gotta show you those pictures sometime. You're gonna be like, ooh, oh wow, ew. Zoinks, yeah, the college pictures when I first met her mom. You're like, oh, okay, I can understand that. Yeah. Now. Today you're like, yeah, why? So
yeah, cool spot. But you actually you spent a lot of time in the city. You lived there for how many years?
I lived in Brooklyn. Well, I moved from Tulsa, Oklahoma to Brooklyn.
Oh, that's a big jump.
Yeah, because when I was at School of Visual Arts in New York City, my mother got remarried. He sold all the shit in New Jersey and moved her out to Oklahoma. So when I got to the end of my year in New York City, I had no place to go but fucking Oklahoma. So, hey, if you ever get a chance to go to Tulsa, don't.
So yeah, let me just clarify. So, born in Jersey, Tulsa, Oklahoma.
For 2 years, got a call from my buddy that said, "Hey, you want to get a job at a film company?" I'm working at a film company, and I'm like, "Fuck Oklahoma." So literally took like a boombox, duffel bag, and got on a bus.
Hell yeah.
And came back to New York City.
Yeah.
And the place that I was staying with my two buddies, my room was kind of a closet. My mattress we folded and put into the room, and it kind of like bent up the walls, and you couldn't open the door fully because it hit the mattress, so you had to kind of squeeze around the door.
That still happens.
Yeah, people overpay for that.
Yeah, like a lot of money for it, but I could see the Statue of Liberty from my bedroom window, so I was like, all right, that's cool.
You win some, you lose some.
Uh-huh.
So then, being in the city, what I don't want you to go into you don't have to say what the years were, but when during the time in which you were in the city, what was that like? And
it was a hell of a lot better than it was. It was before Giuliani, and it 40 seconds still had all the strip clubs and the peep shows, and the drugs were still just everywhere, and it was a shit ton of fun. When I was in high school, we used to go into the city. That was it. The toll was $6, so you would pay $6 to get through the Lincoln Tunnel, and then you had the fucking world stage in front of you in New York City. And I would literally park the Sully mobile, and we get beers, and we would just shoot the shit with everybody. Hi, same plug.
Roll credits.
Ding 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 ding. So, made a lot of friends that way, because we're like white guys on 42nd Street just watching the shit pass by, and people are like, the fuck are white boys from New Jersey sitting out here fucking drinking beers, watching shit go by. So, living in Brooklyn, in the city, we lived on the roof of Hell's Kitchen, so. That was fun because that was 50th and 10th, and New Year's Eve at 11:55. We would literally walk down our stairs, go down to Broadway, look down the street, watch the ball drop, yay, happy New Year's, yay, and then walk back to the apartment.
This is nothing special to us.
Yeah, so we're like, look at these guys, yeah. And so now, look, you saw the parade, you were a part of that. And holy shit, it was crowded this year.
Yeah.
So
This year, and I not only heard it from you guys who have
we
done
heard it from cops.
We
heard it from New York
cops.
City police.
We heard it from everyone and their mom that we walked by because everyone and their goddamn mother was there this year, and it was just it was quite crowded, but it was certainly worth our time and worth the trip down.
Yeah, and to be a part of the parade, I think, is a little bit nicer than to be a part of the New Year's.
Yeah,
Because the New Year's just seems kind of, I don't know, anticlimactic, or it seemed like it was more of a group effort this year. When you go to the parade, granted, like I say, there were so many fucking people there this year, but most of the time when we go there, we're singing songs with the people around us, and we're cracking jokes, and we where you from? Ohio? Holy shit, So, I mean, we got to at least see the parade, which is cool.
Yeah, which is I've always wanted to do as someone who's only ever seen it on TV. But it's a lot better and shorter without commercials.
Yeah. I was gonna say that's what I texted my parents. I was like, yeah, it's a lot shorter without the commercials.
Done. Yeah,
It's over.
Exactly. I don't know. When you just watch the parade, that's it. You just watch the parade.
Yeah.
There's a million other things going on the TV as well. You see the performances and everything, and then they just catch you up with all the floats and the balloons or whatever. But it's still fun though. Oh, yeah. It was worth it.
Yeah. And I wanted to ask Sully about your time in college, because you went to the School of Visual Arts.
Correct. Yeah, I studied film for my course of study. Learned a lot, saw a lot of great films.
Saw a lot of not great films.
saw a lot of shitty films.
Yeah,
But the
as you
thing,
do.
my thing too, and with any film, I'm like, can you tell me a story that's interesting enough?
Mm.
I don't care what it's about. So, keep your mind open when you see a film, and you may be surprised at sometimes. I mean, even just to see like what the guy was trying to even get across on the screen. It's like somebody, like a record. It's like, that guy sucks singing. Yeah, but he has a record and you don't.
Right.
That's a very good
Yeah.
point, actually.
But he's on vinyl. So the same with the film. Well, the film got made.
Right.
There was enough people that thought that this was a good idea to put up on the screen. So, giving any film that kind of openness, like I said, I saw some shit that, wow, yeah, check out Eraserhead sometime, but keep an open mind,
Yeah.
And like I say, try to think of what, like 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Yeah. We were talking about it
What were
yesterday.
they trying to,
Not one of my favorites.
what point were they making? So, get into that and.
Yeah, Bobby and I have actually discussed like the top 100 like movie list of all time, and it's usually something along the lines of like The Godfather is there, and like Pulp Fiction's pretty high up, and like Citizen Kane, Casablanca
Still holds up.
Still holds up. Like as a person who studied film and saw it from like an educational and like a critical standpoint, do you think that shit really holds up?
Yeah, well, that the whole thing about telling a story is like, why is Star Wars such a great story? Well, Star Wars is the story.
You're preaching to the choir.
Say that again?
You're preaching to the choir over here.
Well, exactly. But if you look at the dynamic of Star Wars, you have the guy who lost his parents, who finds an older man who teaches him the ways, where he becomes the master of it. And you look at like, the Iliad, the Odyssey, Greek myths, shit like that. And you go back, and then even like in stupid things, the idea of the schlub who, I don't know, becomes a karate kid, or like the ugly girl who becomes, so that it's such a well-known story to be told well. The same story to be told well, that's the mark of a good picture. The story of the whole fucking epic story of The Godfather is a great story. So that's the thing that makes a good film. Throw in wonderful images because you have such a large screen to project the shit on. That's that's like Dr. Zhivago and stuff like that. And you're like, wow, it's just epic looking. So
we're starting our Flicks and Feedback podcast. So when we're watching films and stuff, we'll definitely have to keep the tropes and the plots and the stories in mind when making our like critiques and giving feedback and stuff like that.
Yeah, if it's a shitty movie, just try to figure out what they were trying to do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
When I moved back from Tulsa, Oklahoma to New York, my buddy wanted me to work in the film business, and I worked on a lot of major motion pictures. One of the ones I worked on was Field of Dreams. Now the thing is, when they shoot a film, they shoot it out of sequence.
Right.
So he was doing transfers in the morning, I was doing transfers at night. So we would leave each other notes, and I'm like, I don't know, it's an old guy, I think he's a black guy, I think he's a baseball player, and he's going to build something or something, and I get like notes from him, and it's like, I think it's his old man, he's trying to get in touch with his old man, but I think he's dead. They're trying to figure out
the
Field
plot
of Dreams
the movie out of sequence.
Out of sequence.
So funny.
Yeah.
And then you probably go and watch the movie and be like, oh, that's what that was about.
Yep. Yeah, so this was what was the name of it? Jodie Foster and Hannibal Lecter.
Silence of the Lambs.
So Silence of the Lambs. I never saw the movie, and I saw it like 2 years ago. And I'm watching it, gets to the end of it, and I'm like, holy fuck. I worked on Silence of the Lambs.
Wow.
I didn't even realize that I worked for
I
all
love
the
that
films
story.
that I like worked on. Jonathan Demme, who was the director, who also did like Philadelphia and stuff like that. He was doing this side project called My Cousin Bobbie, and if you look up, there's a movie called My Cousin Bobbie about Jonathan's Demme's cousin who was a priest in Brooklyn. So I'm doing all this footage of this priest in Brooklyn, like, "Hi, Mrs. Dawson, how you doing today? Wonderful, hey, good to see ya." And it gets this stuff, and it's a shot of a plane, and there's people coming off of a plane, and there's Uncle Bobby. Like coming off, he actually played the priest in Philadelphia, so you can kind of tell what he looks like. He's coming off the plane. I'm like, all right, so they took Uncle Bobby on a trip. That was really cool. And then it was crane shots of a crowd walking down the street, and I'm like, what the fuck? All right, well, we'll sync everything up. I did sound to the film, so I sunk, scene 1, take 3.
Like
that
Foley
was
work
me.
and stuff.
So,
Like Foley work.
No, it was called sound syncing.
Okay.
So when you shoot a film, you shoot a film on film and record sounds separately. There's got to be a way to hook the two up. So on the film, what you see is the clapstick closing. On the sound, you hear the clapstick closing. And technically, if you hook those two up, if you sync them up, the rest of the scene should be in sync.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, yeah, I fucked up the Abyss by that, but I'll tell you.
Oh!
That's another story.
We're gonna get to that one.
Shit, so where was I going with that one?
Sound syncing.
Silence of the Lambs. So watching the scene of all the crowd walking down the street and the plane scene, I didn't really get it in context with My Cousin Bobbie until cut to whatever 30.
Yeah.
When I'm watching Silence of the Lambs and there's the shot of Hannibal Lecter arrive, like they shot Hannibal coming off of the plane on another thing. Cut to another scene, cut back to the plane with Uncle Bobby coming off of it, and then
funny.
like when he's on the phone calling Clarice, that was the shot of the crowd walking down. I was like,
Whoa.
it was the very
Holy
final scene in
shit.
Silence of the Lambs that I worked on.
That's crazy.
So
That's freaking awesome.
yeah, like my cousin Vizzy. Arachnophobia. When Harry Met Sally was like one of the first ones I worked on. So I saw, and that was it. So I get the film and I get the sound and I see it before anybody. So screw all you guys. I get to see every take. So I was the first person to see I'll have what she's having.
Whoa.
So that was fun.
Oh, that ending monologue must have been great to see for the first time too, when Harry Met Sally.
Yeah, it was fun. Billy Crystal was in it, so it was fun to kind of watch, him do his shtick, and
Prime Billy Crystal too. That's insanity.
Yep.
So, all right, let's hear about the Abyss.
All right,
If
so
you would.
So frame rate is 24 frames a second.
Mm-hmm.
You run film at any other speed, it looks weird. All right, so a sound reel, which is a 1/4-inch tape, has a 60 hertz signal on it. Okay, so the 60 hertz signal is like this long sine wave that just kind of goes down the tape, and every household outlet, the electrical outlets that you have, there's a 60 hertz pulse in it. So when they plug it in, they can just take the 60 hertz off of that.
Mm-hmm.
There's also a hertz generator in these really fancy tape recorders called Nagras.
Mm-hmm.
So when they record with this signal and you play it back on a Nagra, you need to resolve it. So it plays it back at the same speed that they were recording. Let's say something happened or it slowed down or something, that's 60 hertz. As long as it's referenced to that, they're doing it in the same speed that the film is being shot at. So I would get the sync point in the Abyss and just hit record. And I never resolved it. So within about 12 or 15 frames, it was out of sync.
Ooh.
Wow.
So James Cameron would get all of these takes
Yeah.
that were like in sync and out of sync, or let's say a tail slate where the slate was at the very end of the take.
Mhm.
All of a sudden it would go into sync.
Oh.
Because that's where it was connected.
Yeah.
You know, if it's connected at the beginning, then it goes out of sync because it drifts apart because I wasn't resolving the tape to anything. And Cameron was calling and bitching and screaming at my
Oh
boss.
boy.
And then one night at like 3 in the morning, I like jumped up in bed and I'm like, I'm not resolving the Nagra. I'm not resolving the Nagra.
man.
Holy shit, I'm not resolving the Nagra. And so I had to tell him the next day, and he's like, are you fucking kidding?
So is that like super like unreversible? Is that like detrimental to like the whole final product, or is that like?
I will submit to you this. Watch The Abyss.
You know what? Fair point.
Yeah, yeah.
Fair point.
I'm like, I finally did, and I'm like, oh my God.
Is it that bad?
Oh, wow. It's
Wow.
very slippery. It's
Yeah.
very, very, very slippery.
That's
So,
crazy.
and the thing is, I notice, doing it for whatever 15 years, I notice it, and I'm like, that's 3 frames behind.
Yeah.
You
Wow,
know,
yeah.
yeah, it's 10 frames.
Probably
out of
harder
sync.
for the average movie watcher to see it. You know.
But you see it because it just doesn't match up. A guy puts a glass down on the table, and then you hear the sound like a couple seconds later. There's actually a movie called Sync, where it's the lady's job to do it, and then her hearing goes out of sync. And I'm like, oh, don't even.
Stop,
That's
no.
like the shittiest Twilight Zone episode I ever saw.
Twilight Zone. That's something that you've kind of mentioned and brought up a couple of times, even just in this trip alone. The Twilight Zone is like critically acclaimed as like some of the best sci-fi stories ever written. You know, is there any that kind of stick out to you, other than like Willoughby? Because Willoughby's a good one.
Last Stop Willoughby, yeah, is the name of that one. The one where the kids swam to the bottom of the pool and then they went to like that idyllic place.
Yes.
Yeah, watch that one. My parents were getting a divorce, so that kind of stuck.
I'm swimming down to the bottom of the pool. I'm going
with Aunt M. Yeah, fuck, wherever Aunt M is. Yeah, she's making pie. Screw that. Mom's drunk again. Yay. But
in today's terms, the Twilight Zone's kind of like cheesy, hokey, just because of like it's older. But at watching it when it was like really big, it must have been like holy shit.
Well, if you really want to know what it's about, read The Shelter. The Shelter. It was one of the first Twilight Zone episodes because Rod Serling was a writer and he wrote this thing called The Shelter, and it was about the people who had the only bomb shelter and the guys knocking on the doors trying to let them in, and the air raid siren going off and all that other stuff, and then it turns out it was a false alarm.
Wow.
And then everybody had to go home, and you're like, so it was more, to me it was more of the, because my parents didn't teach me shit. It was more of a moral play. Or more like what could happen,
What's the moral of the story?
Yeah, and there was a lot like that. There was a lot of the freaky stuff, which was kind of cool.
The
but
alien ones were cool. I like the ones where it was like alien stories.
the one with Burgess Meredith,
I think so.
the one where he just wanted to read books and stuff like that. He was a bank teller. His wife would tear up his books and destroy them.
I don't remember that one.
Went down to the bank vault. All of a sudden, his book flew open.
I don't remember.
He goes up top. There was a nuclear bomb. He's the only man left.
Oh shit! I don't remember
And
that one.
he's like, holy crap! He's walking around, and he looks up and he sees the library.
Oh.
And he takes all the books out. He makes piles of books. This is going to be January. This is going to be February. And then he sees a book on the ground that he wants to get, and he leans down, and his glasses fall off and break.
Yes.
Whoa.
Yes.
So it's things like that. I mean, you know, if you ever want to think of like, hey, gratitude, you know, or something like that, or preventative, or whatever it is. So being shown those kind of scenarios, you kind of start thinking, well, what would I do if, you know, let's say my neighbors were knocking on my shelter. So that's what it was back then. You know, that's what they kind of came across as morality.
I actually have an air raid siren story. My school went on a field trip to Plymouth Plantation one year, and we're driving back from the plantation, and we're heading back to school, and then all of a sudden, the air raid sirens start playing, and we're like, what the fuck is happening? We all start like freaking out on the bus, and we're like I was like in 3rd grade or something like that, and everybody's crying, everybody's on the phone like, what is going on? What is going? It was a false alarm, obviously, but like, yeah.
I thought you were gonna say it was only 12 o'clock.
That's funny. Yeah, that's the local church bell's bell is a air raid siren.
Oh, hey, scary. That's a little scary. You're gonna die. Yeah, we're gonna make room in the graveyard. Yeah.
So, Max and Haley. So you
My
guys
dears
have joined us for the past couple of days in the Big Apple in New York City. And you guys have been coming here since you guys were like little. Is there anything that like you still get kind of surprised by when walking in and being like, oh man, it catches you by surprise every time?
Well, for me at least, like coming in as a child, like seeing things from that perspective, like as a kid, everything looks huge to you. And then like even now as an adult, granted I'm 5'3" still, but everything it still shocks me how big everything is. Like the skyscrapers, they're not kidding when they call them that. They're scraping the sky. Like it's terrifying. Like we went and saw the Empire State Building because like Robbie, this was like kind of your second time in the city, basically, like second, third, fourth, basically. So like seeing it up close, we were like on the street that the Empire State Building was on, and I was like craning my neck to see the top of it. I was like, damn, didn't know it went up that far. But that's something that still surprises me to this day.
That was the cool thing about the Twin Towers.
Yeah.
Like being down at the bottom and looking straight up, you're like, oh my God. The worst was being on the top. On the inside, like they had a railing that you could lean your head up against the glass and look down. And that was scary. That was so scary. It was really scary.
Even here we have a street called Johnson Drive, and
Oh,
you
wow,
can
yeah,
see
top of the
New
mountain.
York City from the top of the mountain, basically down the street from us. And it's like
It's
to
the
see New
Appalachian
York
Mountains.
City from there, like to see the Twin Towers, like I know you've said it was
That was the
something.
whole marker of like going down the highway towards New York City.
Yeah.
All of a sudden the Twin Towers would pop up, and then you can kind of gauge where New York City is because you'd see the Twin Towers look a little to your left. Hey, the Empire State Building. And you're like, all right, so you kind of, like Twin Towers was downtown, Empire State Building's 34th. So you're like, all right, so there's Central Park and then uptown.
Yeah, and to literally see that like from our backyard,
From,
like that's
yeah,
crazy.
Like from our ride to work.
From the Dunkin' Donuts,
And that's what I liked about being here, being like, whatever, 45 minutes, an hour away. Less than an hour
Yeah,
from New York City.
it's pretty freaking sweet.
I will say, I am quite jealous of how close you guys are to the city, especially because, Beefy and I went off on our own today, which I know made Haley's nerves quite big. But, but
You gonna take this?
But even, because it's literally an hour away. It's two train rides and a hop and a skip and a jump, and boom, you're there.
But for us, we have to plan like a whole weekend out of it, So for you guys, it's all right, we got nothing to do. Want to go in the city? Crazy. For us, that's like Boston, and Boston's got Boston. But to me, it's like New York is the hub of everything that it is we love. So we'll definitely appreciate it while we have it,
Yeah, well, I think you guys took full advantage.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah,
And then some.
because then you have the chance to, and that's kind of, you could do whatever you want at my place.
That's why I'm so grateful that we have this outlet. It's kind of like the home for wayward artists.
Sully's home. The island of misfit toys.
Yeah. How about you, Max? Something about NYC?
Just like the same as Haley said, was just the height of the buildings are just scary at this point. I look up and I'm like, I couldn't be at the top. I couldn't do that. That scared me.
Don't look up. You look like a tourist.
I just still get surprised.
Yeah, I mean, it's... I that's what I liked about it. I like the architecture of it too.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pointing out different crap as we're walking down the street.
Every other block, Robbie was pointing out like something on the buildings, whether it was like a weathered piece of like copper in the railing, or just like a funky looking fire escape or something like that. Like,
You gotta. It's just. I can't. I'm speechless. I know, and it's funny because I get so I get so starstruck by the buildings and just how pretty they are, and like I have to make sure I keep what's the word, periodically looking forward so I don't bump into somebody, because God knows if you're not looking out for bumping into other people, no one's looking out for bumping into you, especially not on the streets of New York.
We're playing hockey out there. People are just like hip checking everybody. It's ridiculous.
No, the architecture is just so goddamn beautiful, and just from all of it, literally all of it. I was looking at a book at Barnes and Nobles today that was all about architecture in New York, and God, I really could have sat there for the whole day.
Even that Barnes and Noble was hella fancy.
4 floors. 4 floors. The Barnes and Noble on 17th. 4 fucking floors.
Ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
So we went to different sections in New York City. There was Soho,
Yes.
which stands for
South of Houston. We learned something this
and
weekend.
NoHo stands for
North of Houston.
North of Houston. All right, Tribeca. You ready?
Three
You ready?
Beccas.
I was like, hello, Becca. Hello, Becca.
Hello, Becca. Hello, Becca. Hello, Becca.
All right. So you know how it's kind of like a little cut across street, like a triangle street.
Those kill me.
All right.
Those throw me off so badly because I'm like,
It's a
this
grid.
doesn't-
It's a grid.
It's not a grid system. It's all over the place. It's literally all over the place. One minute you're going completely horizontal across the entire city, and the next you're going diagonal.
Yeah, you're like,
Hello.
I said
Not a
Diagon.
highway in sight, but you're going diagonal. Like,
I said Diagon Alley. Hey. So that triangle, that triangle was below canal. Canal.
Are you no?
The triangle below canal. I was like, mother, wow, that's cool. Oh, wow. Clever little knew those guys.
Yeah.
that's crazy.
The triangle below canal.
Wow.
Wow.
You can figure out where you are if you just break down the words. You know,
Yeah.
I guess.
That's
West
the-
Street. Okay. I mind the West.
Wow.
I'm
That's
on the
like
street.
That's a simple one.
That's the street naming equivalent to being like Jackson, Peterson,
Yeah.
Harrison. Like, who are you? I am Harrison's son.
I am Jack's son. They call me
Yeah.
Jackson.
Crazy.
Smith.
Oh my
Your dad's the blacksmith, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another one. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Ta-da.
Crap.
You didn't realize that?
No.
Smith is from a blacksmith.
That's crazy. I didn't even think of that.
And stuff. Yeah.
And stuff. Do you, other than Washington Square, like, do you have like a favorite, like, building or like like what was your like big like store that you used to go to all the time, or your restaurant spot?
Forbidden Planet, the complete strategist. Complete strategist because I did Dungeons and Dragons. And that kind of shit.
Yes.
So,
You did?
14th level paladin band. Yep.
Yeah.
14th level paladin.
Holy shit.
Yeah,
He's
I
an
got,
OG.
I got a character that's in jail for getting drunk at a bar on some planet someplace. Because we did all these role-playing games, and I'm like, am I out? Am I seriously out? You guys suck. I'm going to go smoke weed.
Begging your friends to bail you out.
Yeah, that was it. But, it's the roll of the dice.
It's
so.
only
Yeah.
a trillion space dollars. Like,
Yeah.
like, you guys can like make that together. That's funny. That reminds me of like a video I saw. It's a guy in like Canada who's running like the longest D&D campaign, and like it blows my mind that it's like the same like map, the same world, but it's been going on for like years and years, and everybody just like filters out characters and new people come in and play. It's kind of ridiculous.
Give it to Gary Gygax.
Yeah.
Really give it to Gary Gygax that he set up something that can be
Done
used
like
for.
that.
Yeah, I still have my original, whatever 1978 manual. Yeah.
The rules are so different now.
I know.
I wanna see
And
it, though.
I'm so used to the artwork too. I just,
Yeah.
No, it's up in my room. Uh-huh.
Second or third
so.
edition or something like that. I think
probably-
Haley showed me a picture.
Oh, really?
First edition?
First.
Holy grail of the geek world.
It's Sully. Yeah, and somewhere I have the original souvenir book, the movie book from Star Wars.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So I gotta find that someplace.
Oh, man.
That's also what I love about Arcadia, is that not only can you literally just look. We're in the living room right now, and there's not a single square inch of blank space, and everything's got a story, and there's always something around the
It's a
corner.
museum.
It is a
The
goddamn
first time
museum.
I came here, I was like, oh my god, this is a museum. I can't touch anything.
Remember Mr. Krabs' house from that one episode of SpongeBob?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that.
It's that.
I think he does have $1 somewhere.
Take it. Yeah, the first $1 that we made at the store.
Yeah.
Yeah, a custom framing store.
Part of your life.
Yeah, I had a custom framing and art supply store for
Yeah,
15
Jesus
years.
Christ, you've been like all over the place. New
Yeah.
Jersey, Tulsa, Oklahoma, New York City, New Hampshire. Like, Jesus.
And Massachusetts, yeah.
Oh, yeah, and Massachusetts, yeah.
Yep.
The store was in Chelmsford.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
cool.
we lived in Nashua, New Hampshire.
Wow.
Yeah, fun.
All over the freaking place.
yeah.
So for you guys as like, his kids looking at it from this perspective, it's like, how much more do you feel you know just by, being somewhere where, for us, it's like a quote unquote vacation, but for you guys, it's like, all right, we're going to go and get something to eat in the city. It's like, you guys were adapted to it so much sooner than we were. Do you feel that that's, benefited you with being in an adult setting and stuff like that and handling like adult situations?
So my dad literally only got this house a couple years ago, like 5 years ago, 6 years ago at this point, not even. 2017, and I only moved in at the beginning of the pandemic. So I was in my freshman year of college with you guys, and at this point, At this point now, I don't feel like I'm an adult, and I don't know when I'm
Nobody
ever
ever
gonna
does.
feel like I'm an adult. But like at that point, like in the pandemic, making that decision to come down here and realizing that that was an option for me, that I didn't have to stay with the life that I had with my mom that she had planned out for me, that I could take advantage of the fact that my dad had this house in this area down here. You know, I just, you know, I think that was something for me. It's now or never. I have to take advantage of my life. And if my dad is providing me with this opportunity and this safe space, I think I have to do what will benefit me. And having this house was more than I could ask for, especially with him here.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
like being around the city, like growing up and stuff. Like, do you feel comfortable being in the city?
Yeah, it's gotten me more comfortable with going with the flow. Because you never know what's going to happen once you get there. So I've gotten good at just listening and figuring out what's next, basically.
Well, I think for the kids too. I mean, for Haley, probably it's shown her that you're fucking capable. I mean,
Yeah.
however overwhelming the city is to most people, it really isn't, because what we say is make it your own. You got stuff to do there. Like, just don't worry about anybody else's in that city. And the thing is, the city will give you more than you could ever ask for.
Mm-hmm.
You guys getting interviewed by random chick on the street on Thanksgiving
Yeah.
Day.
Yeah, that was hella cool.
Yeah.
I think she.
Came out of the
Yeah, I think she went to like a high school in New Jersey, and we were just standing there like waiting for the next parade float or something, balloon, and someone comes up to me, Beefy and Haley, and we're just there, and they're like, "Hey, could I just ask you guys a question or two, and about like what you're thankful for, and put it in my I think like a high school video project," which is just so cool. And I wanted to piggyback of what Sully was saying. Make the city your own. Beefy, we made the city our bitch today. Like we figured it out, and Mac, like you said, Mac's going with the flow. It's it's hard. You gotta pay attention.
It's the city.
It's the city.
It'll spit you out.
Oh yeah.
But the thing is, you look at the type of people that are in the city, so it's capable of handling anybody.
Right.
But it just like Max said, just go with the flow, because there is a flow there.
Mm-hmm.
You like when we're walking down the street, you're like, how the hell did you get so far ahead? I'm like, because I've lived here. Like,
Right,
I know how
yeah.
I know how to walk New York.
Mm-hmm.
Get around the tourists and stuff. So
Yeah, and something that you also said this weekend that I think will stick with me until I die is all roads.
All roads.
And which is short for all roads lead anywhere, essentially. And all roads will take you where you want to go, and I think where you're meant to go.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a nice thing I'm gonna take away from this weekend.
100%. Put that on a fucking t-shirt.
Yeah.
I propose this to you though.
Mm-hmm.
You're exactly where you need to be
Yeah.
Yeah.
at every moment. You're exactly where you need to be. Look in your past.
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't have gotten here without where you have been before. So, So whenever you think that you need to be someplace else, or you should be doing something, think that you may need to just stay right there.
Yeah.
So,
Well, that's quite a beautiful note.
Yeah.
To wrap it up with.
Yeah, I truly don't think we could have ended it any better. But Sully, like I said, we wanted to have you on for so long, and I'm so glad that we got Max and Haley to be here as well. I've idolized you guys ever since I met Haley, and I think Bobbie can say the same. We've always seen you guys as a piece of us, and we're super grateful that you guys have had us, and we're glad that we have this connection. So thank you so much for chatting
you're welcome.
with
I
us.
was glad to have you over. So.
Yeah.
Happy to be a honorary Sullivans.
Yeah. Hey, you party with the Sullivans at Rosie O'Grady's, R.I.P. You're a Sullivan for life. Well, Bobby.
Yeah, Beefy?
What do you think, buddy?
I think
Is that a good episode?
it's another good episode.
Hell yeah. Thank you all so much for catching up with Beefy and Bobbie and the Sullivans. Thank you guys again so much. And we hope you guys had a happy holiday season. And we look forward to hearing from you guys very soon.
And with that, this has been another episode of Shooting the Shit
with Beefy
and Bobbie. Thanks for listening to another episode of Stswbnb.
If you haven't already, you can follow us and stay up to date with all the latest episodes on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and X.
Also, be sure to check out our merch shop, currently on redbubble.com/STSWBNB.
And if you or someone you know wants to shoot the shit with us or be on our new artist hour, go fill out our guest forms in our bios.